Changes are needed at Leeds United right now because we've had yet another away match where we've gone 1-0 down and it's ultimately resulted in more points that have been dropped. And as a club, Leeds United really need to learn why. And in this video, I'm going to talk through all of the potential issues that we're facing and the changes that we sort of need to look at for the ongoing future. So with this video, I'm going to do things a little bit differently as well. I've got a few main things to discuss. I'm going to chapter it up a little bit. I've got some quick referee talk, talking about the silly goals that we're conceding, allowing other sides to dictate our matches, Farke's weird substitution rules that he seems to have, and ultimately what needs to change. So first, I'm going to dive into a very quick bit of referee talk. And as I mentioned on Just Joe's stream immediately after the match, you can't entirely blame a referee, but there's a sort of situation in which you say that, and at the same time, a lot of people use that as a way of saying, well, so don't critique the referees. No, you still heavily need to criticize the referees at the moment, because have a look at that match. 30 minutes in, if they're down to 10 men, the complexion is entirely different. It just is. And I'm not blaming the referee for the mistakes that we made, but I'm blaming him for the mistakes that he made. So just with that in mind, need to pay attention to it. But what we also need to pay attention to is the fact that when we're playing away from home, we seem to be increasingly conceding silly goals compared to when we're playing at home. So in this specific case, let's have a quick look at the goal we conceded against Preston. Specifically, we lose the ball really high up the pitch. Pascal Struijk loses a fairly simple one-on-one, and Illan Meslier concedes a shot that probably should be saved. 3 individual mistakes that have all been caused by someone switching off, which is what I think is ultimately the issue that we face away from home significantly more often than anywhere else. You don't see these problems happening when we're playing at home, but when we're away, look at Sunderland as well. Illan Meslier switches off for that much, and the ball is in the back of his net, and we drop 2 points. Similarly, look at the match against Blackburn. Concede a stupid penalty because Tanaka just switches off for a moment, barges his player over, and there's a few more points dropped. And this is what I think starts to sort of spiral into a bit more of a problem. And it's why when I say we're ignoring the referee talk for the most part, we can't ignore it entirely, because when we concede these silly goals and we switch off for a minute, what we do is we allow others to dictate our matches. Now, this isn't even necessarily the other team. This is referring to the referee. If you allow the referee to have the power to sort of define what happens in that game because we've lost control for that one moment, then we can't wrench control back. If we're a goal down, we can't do anything about the fact that the other side is time wasting. Realistically, we can't stop them. The way that we'd stop them is scoring a goal, but they're already in the lead, and now they're sitting back significantly more often. By relinquishing that little bit of control early on in the match, which it was early on against Blackburn, it was earlier on against Preston, the other side is able to say, okay, we'll just manage the pace then. We can sit incredibly deep. We'll waste as much time as we can, and the referee probably won't give yellow cards for it, because we've already seen throughout the match that referees aren't really giving yellow cards for time wasting. It's not happened all season long, realistically. And a lot of this conversation does hinge around the concept of control. And there is a way of wrenching back control, and that's by making substitutions. And that's where we need to talk about Daniel Farke's substitution rules. You'll notice that when it comes to making subs, you're looking at the earliest 65 minutes. Sometimes you'll get some in the 60th. Most often you'll get them in the 70th. If we're in control of a match, maybe 75. But the way that you wrench back control of a game is you make the right changes at the right times. And I feel like there's this unwritten contract that Daniel Farke has with his players that go out onto the pitch, where at halftime he will effectively say to them, I'm giving you 15, 20 minutes. Go out and you can keep on going. And prove to me that you deserve to stay on the pitch. And a lot of people will be demanding substitutions earlier than that, and I completely get it. At this specific case, in the 55th minute, I was saying, I don't really see what Joel Piroe is doing here. He's not really contributing too much to this match. Why is he still on the pitch? But there is that ongoing rule of, well, you get 15 minutes to prove yourself, and then we make the changes. And Piroe still didn't come off, but Aronson did and Nonto didn't. They weren't having a very good match, so I completely understand that side of it. But those substitution rules mean that they're able to make the substitutions earlier than we are. which has happened against Preston and against Blackburn and in the majority of matches that we played this season, which means that they're able to drag a little bit more control in, say, no, okay, we'll have a little bit more of the pace, we'll define the changes that you need to make. If you bring on another defender as the side that is holding on to the lead, we need to go more aggressive. Because if we don't go more aggressive, then we're just playing the same number of attacking players against even more defensive players, and things get even tougher. So it becomes a question of what exactly needs to change for Leeds United to turn around that away form, because at home, fantastic. We're doing really, really well. Incredibly. But I think we do need to make some changes. And the first isn't even strictly a change, it's to stay switched on. Because in those away matches, it is the momentary lapses that happen time and time and time again. And those lapses are what lead to us dropping points. If we didn't have that trio of mistakes today, then we probably win. We're probably 2 points better off. If we didn't concede the stupid goal against Blackburn with a challenge that was absolutely daft, sod it, we'll call that 1 point, and then you've got another 2 points against Sunderland, we could be looking significantly better in the table at the moment. But we're having those little lapses, those individual mistakes, those small errors, and let's be honest here, as I've mentioned time and time again, these are championship players for a reason. They are not the best players around, because if they were, they'd be in the Premier League or they'd be in the Champions League. They're going to make mistakes. But it's the fact that they seem to be able to stay switched on for the full 90 at home, then you get away from home and something slips. And my theory on what the difference is they need to focus more on the fans. Because at a roused up, riled Elland Road, it's very easy to say, look, all these people are relying on us, let's go for it. Whereas if it's the away fans, you've got significantly fewer people there. And I can see it being less of an impact. But the one thing that needs a fundamental change at the moment, in my opinion, is expand the rotation. The mistakes are coming from centre-backs and central midfielders, and admittedly, Illan Meslier, I am saying that for all the people that will go, you just want to protect Meslier. Not asked. We just need to do well here. But rotate the centre-backs more, and you don't get a tired Pascal Stroke trying to make that challenge in the middle of the park. Rotate the central midfielders more, and they've got a lot more energy to keep zipping that ball around, even if we have conceded the silly goal and they're playing in the low block. And the more we expand that out and the more we change things, the fresher the players are going to be, the better we're going to look. And ideally, the more results we're going to get. And with Ampadu coming back, that should become significantly easier for us to do, because he can play in both of those positions. But as always, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not yet. That's always really appreciated. Even become a channel member. It's 99p a month, and you get access to a bunch of videos early and all that sort of stuff. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you later. Why can't we just beat Preston? Is it just Lancashire clubs? Is that the problem? Bollocks.